I mean, first it was a one-sided beef, so that's why I even feel corny talking about it, because she doesn't respond, you know what I'm saying? As if, I don't know if she feels like she's too big to respond, but that can't be, because Hazel-E came before Cardi B. Did it big for Ava's first birthday, whatever. They like the dress look like this, the dog, the horse, and with the white horses with the horse-drawn carriage, the daddy trying shit just looks familiar, and I'm looking at it. I know I had sent it to you, and I was like, in the colors, and I was like, am I tripping or did? And then it wasn't even nothing until she was like, the greatest pull-up ever. I'm calling this out.
Cardi B?
Yeah, she did all that, right?
We gotta talk about this.
These games,
right?
Then you get overlooked, and even the girls that played them games, right? You know, I'm just gonna say Cardi, because that's just how she played them games. She did all that, right? And she got on, so fuck him, I'm gonna get some, like, she was the rat, like, whatever. And now she has 3 kids, and now she's like, I don't even wanna be that no more. And guess what? Now she's not making music.
When Hazel-E casually name-dropped Cardi B during that fiery interview, it wasn't just a passing comment about the music industry. It was the spark that reignited a long-dormant tension, one built on years of envy, startling claims, and a dangerous secret Cardi had apparently been holding back like ammunition. This wasn't simply messy back-and-forth drama. It was the beginning of a full-scale conflict that spilled out across social media platforms and leaked private messages. Suddenly, what seemed like a small jab turned into an avalanche of revelations, peeling back the curtain on hidden resentments and buried issues that had been simmering beneath the surface for years. And this wasn't just about flashy parties or creative inspiration. It pulled into focus a bigger, more uncomfortable question that often gets buried in celebrity culture. How do women really rise to the top in the ultra-competitive, often unforgiving world of hip-hop? For many watching, Hazel's comments felt like more than shade. They were an attempt to question the legitimacy of another woman's journey, to cast doubt on her success, and maybe even to settle an old score. What followed was a messy, highly public unraveling that revealed just how personal things had become, and how quickly a petty slight can explode into an all-out feud. Strap in, because what began as a seemingly minor mention of a name quickly spiraled into something far more explosive. The truth behind this beef stretches way beyond recycled party themes or chart competition. It taps into long-standing rivalries, buried insecurities, and a brutal spotlight that only the biggest names in music know how to survive. It all began with Hazel-E opening up about what she described as the harsh and often overlooked struggles women face when trying to make it in the music industry. She didn't hold back, highlighting the constant pressure to look a certain way, act a certain way, and navigate a system that often demands more than just talent. She spoke about the exhausting expectations placed on female artists, especially the idea that in order to succeed, they sometimes have to play into exaggerated images or take part in situations that don't feel fully within their control. According to Hazel, the road to fame for women isn't just about music. It's filled with subtle compromises and unspoken rules that can leave them feeling exploited or devalued. But then, the conversation took a sharp turn. Hazel focused her attention on one name in particular, Cardi B. No longer speaking in general terms, she made the feud personal. She directly accused Cardi of being someone who, in her view, took full advantage of the very system she was criticizing. Hazel bluntly suggested that Cardi had leaned into an overly provocative image to gain attention and build her platform, implying that Cardi had used that image, and possibly the uncomfortable dynamics that come with it, as a shortcut to mainstream success.
We've seen each other, we've had words, and in this long conversation, I had to remind her of these instances that I guess, you know, her memory is clouded by whatever that she's doing at the moment, and how she was disrespectful at the very beginning of her career, and yeah, there were some instances, and she was not a nice girl.
Can we pull up the stuff? Let's pull it up first, and then let's share the screen. So you guys have been having some work.
And then, Hazel argued, Cardi flipped the script. To reaching the top, she appeared to reject the same image that helped elevate her career, slowing down her music releases and distancing herself from the approach that other rising artists still feel pressure to follow. Hazel didn't just present this as one woman's story. She framed it as a broader, ongoing problem in the music business. She spoke about a cycle where women are expected to project a certain kind of image to get noticed, only to be criticized or abandoned once they no longer want to play that role. But by naming Cardi B so directly, Hazel transformed her commentary from an industry-wide critique into a highly personal accusation. It wasn't just a discussion about the music world, it was a bold, potentially damaging claim about Cardi's rise to fame and the choices she made along the way. In doing so, Hazel didn't just voice frustration, she issued a challenge. And with that, the stage was set for a confrontation that would command everyone's attention. But this tension didn't suddenly appear out of nowhere. The friction between Hazel-E and Cardi B has roots that trace all the way back to their overlapping days on Love and Hip Hop, a show known for launching the careers of countless aspiring artists. Long before the viral interview that reignited the drama, the seeds of resentment had already been quietly growing. One of the earliest flashpoints? A surprisingly heated dispute over something as seemingly harmless as a birthday party. Years ago, Hazel-E publicly accused Cardi B of copying her daughter's lavish birthday celebration theme. Hazel had thrown a detailed, fairy tale-inspired party, complete with ball gowns, a horse-drawn carriage, and all the trappings of a princess fantasy. Later, when Cardi B hosted a strikingly similar birthday bash for her daughter Culture, Hazel was convinced it wasn't a coincidence. She didn't just voice her opinion in passing. She made multiple public statements, interviews included, where she accused Cardi of taking her idea and then staying silent about it, as if too famous now to respond to people she once shared the screen with. What might have been brushed off as a petty disagreement over party aesthetics took on a much deeper tone. The intensity of Hazel's reaction, how personally she took it, how frequently she brought it up, and how sharply she spoke about Cardi's perceived refusal to acknowledge the similarities, revealed something bigger than a party planning squabble. Pointed to years of unspoken frustration. Through all, both women had their beginnings on the same show in the same ecosystem of early fame. But while Cardi B's rise was meteoric, eventually transforming her into a chart-topping global star and household name, Hazel's own path remained far more under the radar. That kind of contrast, two women starting in the same place but ending up with vastly different levels of success, can create unspoken comparisons. It can lead to quiet questions like, why her and not me? And over time, those questions can harden into resentment. Hazel's outrage over the birthday theme wasn't just about horse-drawn carriages or tiaras. It was about feeling overlooked, dismissed, and perhaps even overshadowed by someone she once saw as a peer. By the time the recent interview dropped, it was clear this feud wasn't fresh. It was the latest spark in a fire that had been slowly smoldering for years. Just as tensions were simmering from Hazel's interview comments, another layer of intrigue surfaced. A video clip showed NFL star Stefon Diggs, who Cardi B had been spotted with in Miami, interacting with women on a boat. Crucially, Cardi was reportedly on that same boat. The clip took a darker turn when Diggs appeared to pull out a bag containing what sources online claimed was pink coke. For those unfamiliar, pink coke is a term heavily associated with Diddy and his infamous parties, rumored to be cocaine cut with other substances, often linked to wild, out-of-control environments. While no direct link to Cardi was made, her proximity to this scene, combined with the timing of Hazel's allegations, added fuel to the gossip fire, painting an indirect picture Cardi was furious to be associated with. Cardi B wasn't having it. Her response, leaked via furious DMs Hazel-E then posted, was volcanic. She opened with a raw demand. Keep my name out your effing mouth. Cardi vehemently denied Hazel's core accusation. I never spoke on you, named who I F for a track. I never effed no rapper nor music exec to be where I met. This was the explosive counterpunch. She flipped the script, claiming the only industry figure she was involved with romantically was Offset, who she married. Cardi threw Hazel's own pettiness back at her, referencing the birthday party drama. You think I copied you, miserable ass bee? She framed Hazel as the perpetual hater, constantly bringing her name up unprovoked, but Cardi didn't stop at denial. She dropped a bombshell revelation. The fact I asked surgeon maid to help you when you almost died in Turkey. This referenced a real, terrifying incident where Hazel-E suffered severe complications during cosmetic surgery abroad. Cardi claimed she intervened to get Hazel medical help, painting herself as an unexpected savior. This made her next lines land even harder. I see why F-ish happens to you, evil and weird. Cardi wasn't just defending herself. She launched a full-scale character attack. She accused Hazel of maliciously heading on, obsessing over people she didn't know, and implied her evil nature explained her misfortunes, even speculating darkly about how she treated people close to her. This shifted the feud from professional jealousy to a brutal personal takedown. Cardi continued her assault, directly tackling the jealousy narrative. She dismissed any notion industry figures like KSR Kaiser helped her early on, stating they only came around after Bodak Yellow exploded. They didn't start coming around to after Bodak went #1. She emphasized her organic entry point. I got invited by Remy Ma herself. Cardi then delivered the ultimate dismissive blow, calling Hazel a fan who was simply repeating everything you see online. She painted Hazel as fundamentally miserable despite her own successes. You have all that, and yet you still miserable hating on women who haven't did nothing to you a day in your life. This was Cardi asserting her dominance and framing Hazel as an irrelevant, obsessed spectator. Hazel-E fired back in the DMs with a racially charged and highly provocative line. "I'm a fan and you are the downfall of yet another black man." This was clearly aimed at the Stefan Diggs situation and the boat video rumors, attempting to tie Cardi to negative outcomes for black men in her orbit, referencing Offset's past public struggles. Cardi instantly countered, "What downfall of another black man? My baby father has his own successful career and my new ninja still in the league and to have a great year. So who's falling?" She defended both Offset's resilience and Diggs' ongoing NFL career, bluntly rejecting Hazel's narrative. However, this exchange highlighted how Cardi, despite her defense, had fully engaged in the messy back-and-forth Hazel seemingly craved. So what was this really about? Many saw Hazel-E's initial comments and subsequent posting of DMs as a calculated play for relevance, baiting the far more famous Cardi into a public spat guaranteed to generate headlines and social media buzz. Cardi, fiercely protective of her hustle and reputation, took the bait spectacularly. The undercurrent is undeniable. Hazel-E's bitterness over Cardi's astronomical success compared to her own post-love and hip-hop career seems palpable, from the birthday party spat to the recent accusations. This feud forces the uncomfortable question Hazel initially posed, but now tainted by personal animosity. Does the industry still pressure women into hypersexualization or compromising games for success? Cardi vehemently denies it was her path, pointing to talent and opportunity. Hazel implies it's systemic, using Cardi as the prime example. Meanwhile, the spectacle of two successful black women publicly tearing each other apart, airing past traumas, turkey, and leveraging rumors, pink coke, alleged past activities, raises its own questions about the cost of fame and the narratives that drive engagement in the YouTube era. Was this a genuine clash of perspectives, or just the latest episode in hip-hop's reality-driven attention economy? Cardi B's furious denials and shocking revelations stand in stark contrast to Hazel-E's persistent criticisms and seemingly deliberate provocation. One leveraged her global platform to eviscerate, the other used the controversy to claw back into the spotlight. Beyond the leaked DMs and viral clips lies a murkier truth. The music industry's pressures on women remain intense, jealousy between peers is real, and controversies like this messy, personal, and often unresolved are catnip for the algorithm. Cardi B moved on, but the questions linger. Does overcoming the game mean you inevitably become a target? And when the spotlight fades, is clout chasing through public feuds the only way some stay relevant? The Cardi vs. Hazel saga exposes more than just their personal animosity. It holds up a mirror to the often ugly mechanics of fame in the digital age. What do you think drives feuds like this? Sound off below.